Welcome everybody back to ACK, the new home of ACK on a new YouTube channel. My name's Chris and I'm joined today by Gabriel Quinta as we go to round 3 of the ACK, the Assetto Corsa Karting League, a virtual sim karting league where we've got 33 drivers taking part today, and it has been an exciting season so far. Using the Pierre Ligio Sodi kart, we travel to 10 different tracks across the season, and today we're here at RKC Paris. 15 turns, 1,100 meters in length, and an 11-meter wide length at times. We're going to see lots of interesting racing today. And the big news is the top two in the championship are not present for today, so we're going to have a different winner for the first time this season, as Soren really has dominated so far. But if you want to get involved with the championship, and if this is the first time you're seeing it on this new YouTube channel, feel free to join the community, the Discord, and all the links are down in the description. But we hope you enjoy the show. And yes, we're here at RKC Karting Paris, and I'm joined today by Gabriel Quinta. Gabriel, hello.
Hello Chris, it's always good to be back for another round of ACK. As you mentioned, we're at the third round now, new venue to the calendar, we've never raced here before. Top two in the championship are not attending this round, so it's going to leave a lot of room for other drivers to take advantage. I have a feeling we're going to see some very exciting racing today.
Yes, absolutely. And, you know, we've seen extremely interesting and close racing so far, but this is the first time this season, and for quite a while in ACK, we've seen such a big and wide track. How do you think that's going to change the racing today, Gabe?
Well, in real life, you typically tend to see a lot more chaotic racing, shall we say, at wide open tracks. You have a slipstream effect, which of course is present in-game, thanks to Pierre Ligio and his amazing modding abilities. But slipstream will be involved, a lot of side-by-side action, so I have a feeling we're going to see a lot of very close wheel-to-wheel racing all the way throughout.
Now, if this is the first time you've been watching these streams, hello and welcome. Of course, this is ACK, and you can get involved by checking the links down below. But we start with a Super Pole qualifying, a one-lap qualifying, moving into a 5-minute sprint race. Now, these drivers are in split race 1. These are 14 drivers, and we're expecting 14 drivers in a second group to take part in also a 5-minute sprint race. And that decides the orders for an A and B final, which are 25 minutes respectively. I believe the B final is just a little bit shorter, with the top two drivers from the B final getting promoted to the A final, and then we have, of course, a championship and a team championship based around that. So, you know, it's a lot of racing today, so really hope you enjoy the show as you join us. But it's just the end of qualifying now, and we're going to be waiting for the first qualifying session to start. Drivers will not be able to leave the pit lane at least for a little while, until there's about 3 minutes on the clock to go. So they have to wait in the pit lane, which they're all doing very calmly. So they've read the briefing notes. So only one driver hasn't. Marie's going to the end of the pit lane. But yeah, with 44 seconds to go, that's how long we have to wait until the start of qualifying. Drivers warming up their tyres, going left and right. And, you know, they're all going to get one chance to get their lap. And, you know, only the top half of these drivers will make the A final. So it's going to be very important on this qualifying lap to get the best lap time they can.
Yeah, these for those who haven't ever experienced or seen these type of qualifying formats, as Chris has been alluding to, it's extremely important to get these laps correct. You know, you've got one chance, everyone's out there. If you make one mistake, a few tenths could cost you from possibly being first all the way down to last. So these laps are crucial. It's crucial to get the karts, the tyres up to temperature, prepare yourself as much as you can mentally and physically for these laps.
Yes, absolutely. And one driver there didn't read the briefing notes. Not, I believe. It is his first ever race in the ACK, so welcome to Not. But unfortunately, he might start with a small penalty there as he left the pit lane a little bit too early. But it shouldn't affect qualifying too much. As they go around now, the drivers, they'll get into their little trains and their groups, finding out who can go the fastest. Mate Shepard, I've noticed, as ever, dropping to last position to start his qualifying lap. And we're waiting now. So Knott's actually started his qualifying lap, but he will be a little bit too early there. But he'll still get a lap time in here. So we'll see how far he goes up the order before taking that penalty at the end of the sprint race. But here come the drivers right now to the last chicane. So Gabriel, take us through our first lap of the night.
Yeah, so we are on board, I believe, with Hugo Morales, making our way towards the final corner to start the lap. It's important to get the exit of this corner correct. You're now coming around, apologies, that was the first corner, coming around down the first straight here. These two drivers are actually very close to each other, giving each other a bump drop. through the first chicane. You need to keep the car nice and planted through here. Long sweeping left-hander, quick change of direction down to the right, and then another very, very long straight here. You've got a long right-hander here, pick the car onto the inside, hit that apex. You've got a banked corner coming up now. This is a brand new thing we've never seen in ACK before. Banked corner. These drivers are not having the cleanest lap, to be honest. They've started extremely close to each other. I'm not sure this is going to be working out for them. But we continue now onto one of the flowiest parts of the track. You've got a long left-hander, another long left-hander as you now take a sweeping right to get back onto one of the final straights of the track. You're heading towards the chicane now. It's crucial to get the car through these curves as smoothly as you can. Right into the chicane, get the car on that apex, back left, very bumpy, using the curb on the exit and across the line.
Yes, here we go. Hugo Morales does go top with the fastest lap so far, but we're now David Roger. Joe goes up to second place. More drivers coming across on. Luis Barringer on his debut, up to second place. Ricardo only fifth, a final in his last race. Simon Gabert down in seventh. GT, the Polish driver, second in his last event, only fourth. Baptista van der Breggen up to second, the controller player. But Dakpan 11 is the driver who is going to be on pole at the moment as we're waiting for one more driver, and that's Martin Sheplo, the fantastic Martin Sheplo. He's in the top division. Oh, very, very sort of scruffy on the curb, but here we go across the line. Martin Sheplo goes. Oh, it's not very fast. It's only trying to find him now. Martin Sheplo only 12th. Oh, that's going to very much frustrate him, I would say. Martin, he could have done a bit better there given how high standard of a driver he really is. But here's the grid. Dakpan 11 taking the pole position, and it was quite important for him to take that. He is one of the championship challengers, you would say, of this season. Half of the drivers will make the A final, so it's going to be interesting to see who finishes where in this first race. But here we go. It's 6 red lights in ACK, and we're waiting for the start of the race. And the lights are going to go out now, and we are now racing. And Dakpan is going to get the better of the launch, and he has the inside line, so he's going to get a clean start. But will it stay clean behind? That's the big question. 2 drivers in front, bump passing each other as they come down. That's Baptista van der Breggen just in behind. The controller play. He's playing on a controller at the moment as they come through the first section. A little bit of bump draft in there, a little bit of contact behind, but nothing too much. Oh, they're 3 wide. And a driver there going a bit wide. I can't quite see who that is. Some drivers getting some issues behind, but it looks to me at the moment like a clean start.
Yeah, very clean start. Obviously 3 wide into that first few corners, so kind of what I alluded to earlier, Chris, with a lot of wheel-to-wheel racing at these wide tracks, but a lot of entertainment. However, Dakpan is heavily under threat here for the lead. He seems to be holding it off well, but I don't think this is something he's going to be able to shake off in the next few laps. This is probably going to be a race-long battle, Chris, from my opinion and my experience at tracks like this.
It could even be a day-long battle, but it's only a 5-minute sprint race here. We might only get about 4 to 5 laps of racing, so it's not going to be much at the moment. But we just see there Baptista van der Breggen does take the lead of the race, and that will be important for him now. Now, if he can take the fastest lap, he will actually take pole position for the A final as well. So it's important now to focus on his lap time, so he gets a better inside start for the start of that final, as now Dakpan is dropping down the order quite a lot at the moment as the Polish driver of GT goes up into 3rd. We're seeing all sorts of battling down the field. We see one driver there spun round, looks like Ricardo. Unlucky for Ricardo there, he has fallen down the order. He hasn't dropped to last though. Just looking down the order as well, Martin Sheplo's recovered to 8th, which is great, so he started 12th. Johan is up to 5th, who had, Johan is a new driver. Once again, welcome to the championship, but 5th on your ACK debut is definitely impressive, I will say, against this calibre of driver.
Just tuning back in with the front lot, Chris, just something I'd like to mention that the stewards might be having a look at. Baranga making his way past, I believe, Dakpan. Might have been some ABC involved there, so I believe the stewards might be having a look at that overtake on the last corner, so just something to keep note of as we continue in the race. But yeah, Dakpan's not going to be happy with where he is at the moment, starting on pole. He's the man who should be trying to steal points from the 2 championship leaders who aren't here, and he's currently sat down in 3rd.
Well, we're halfway through the sprint race at the moment, and Baptista van der Breggen is commanding his lead at the moment up front, but he is being caught down now by Lewis and Barringer. Once again, a new driver to ACK. I think he's done some rounds in previous seasons, but at least in Season 3, this is his first race in Round 3, as we're seeing all sorts of defending down the field. And the back of the pack is still very close together as they still battle. We've got the Brazilian driver here, not just got overtaken by Ricardo, as Ricardo seems to be recovering from his previous issues in the race. But it's very spread out at the moment. I think that's going to be a key theme of today, as a lot of drivers have gone 2 or 3 wide quite early. The pack is very spread out now. And drivers in the actual finals will have to do sprint races, joker laps as well, which will also split out the drivers in a bit of a different way. But we're on to lap 3 now of the race, and there's only 1 minute and 38 seconds to go, so it looks like we're going to get about 1, maybe 2 more laps of racing. Marty Shepard sitting pretty there in 8th place, but he will need to make a couple more places to secure a better spot in the A final.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on at the track at the moment, Chris. But out front, we've just tuned back in. Looks like, just double check this. So yeah, Baranga seems to be closing in on the lead. This would be very impressive for him to get, a potential win on his ACK debut. But yeah, we've seen at the front relatively calm at the moment. Not too much going on, but let's just keep an eye on Baranga as this race continues. Not long to go though, just under a minute.
Yes, and we are going to get 1 more lap of racing here. Baptista Vandenbrecker, this will be a lap where he needs to try and find the fastest lap of the sprint race so we can take pole position potentially, because we're going to be watching who is leading that second sprint race and who can possibly take pole position off Baptista and force him down to 2nd place for the start of the A final. So this is the last lap now as we're following the drivers through. One driver I want to point out who I think has been struggling a little bit and could make his way up the order would be the Polish driver of GT, sitting in 5th place. He finished 2nd at the last round, the indoor track of Racehall Aarhus, but at the moment he's struggling on this bigger outdoor track, as we see now Ricardo attacking the back. I believe that is Brandon, a new driver again, American by flag. Is he American driver? I'm not sure, but welcome to ACK, Brandon. WLZ is his name on screen, as now he's defending from Ricardo. Ricardo winning the B final at the first round of the season, so he's not to be messed around with, but he goes for the overtake and down the inside. A great move, but Brandon does fight it back, as now we move back to the front. It's Baptiste, and Lewis and Barringer's actually caught up now with Baptiste. This is down the back straight, the final couple of corners of the race. I believe that there's no more overtake opportunities here, really. It's about the exit, and Baptiste is going to get the exit and take the first win of the day in the sprint, with Lewis and Barringer coming home in 2nd place. We got 3rd place to Darkpan. Johan in 4th, a great start from him. Polish driver of GT in 5th. 6th going to Hugo Morales. Welcome back, Hugo. 7th, David Roger. 8th, Marty Shepard, with Ricardo recovering to 9th. Brandon finishing in 10th. Not before his penalty, finishing 11th, with Andreas Lazaridis, the 11-year-old driver, in 12th. And Simon Gobert and Dennis Hawkins making up the order. But what a great first sprint race there. Not a lot of action, actually, compared to the last round. Not a lot of contact. Once the first lap was finished, it was very much just sort of time trial driving, I would say, but great to see. So we're going to take a quick short break now, and we'll be back with the second sprint race in just a few minutes. This is now split race 2. We saw some fantastic racing in the first race, but now it's all about the second sprint. It's all about how can drivers get to that A final, or be fighting their way as far as they can up towards the top of the B final, and then do the work in the B final. Is the best way to put it. But we've seen all sorts of action today. But Gabriel, give us your thoughts on what's happened so far.
Well, Chris, as we sort of both alluded to, we were expecting some quite exciting racing throughout those sprints, especially with these wide tracks. It actually calmed down quite a bit though towards the end. So we'll see if we're going to be able to see maybe a bit more exciting racing throughout the race. But fairly clean so far. A lot cleaner than last week is for sure. But let's see how this goes.
Now they say that karting is, or at least sim karting, is quite realistic. This mod, people are saying, compared to real life. But Gabriel, I heard you at the RKC this weekend, driving for the Race Your Drake Vapes team. Tell us how you got on.
It actually went really, really well, Chris. We qualified on pole. The FARKC, by the way, is an endurance championship for those who aren't aware. We qualified on pole. Race Your Drake Vapes A team qualified on pole. We had Thomas Wiltshire, so the FAR, starting the race for us. He actually did have a bit of an off in the first lap after a collision with I forget the driver's name. But we had a bit of a collision, and we have thankfully recovered in the race after Jay Billy himself hopping in the car. But very good race, finished P2 in the end with Race Your Drake Vapes.
And it's great to see that how do you find that comparison, driving a real car to this mod?
Well, it's definitely, I think it's the best thing you can find, to be honest, anywhere, with the mod being created by people who drive these karts regularly in real life. Pierre Legio knows a thing or two about how these karts handle, how they behave, everything about them in real life, and it's been translated almost perfectly into a virtual world. So I'd say for anyone who wants to try rental karting, or maybe might want to try certain tracks that they can't access in real life, this is the perfect alternative. This is where you need to go to get practice. This is what you're going to find.
Yes, absolutely. Well, the pit lane is open now, and drivers have left the pit lane to start the laps. Another driver, once again, leaving the pit lane just a little bit too early. I believe that was Matteo Vasile who did that. So he will take a penalty, is the best way to put it, for the race. It was quite big, actually, for the driver before, so that will have to be judged. But he's coming around now. All drivers are out on the track, bar one, who is Igna, I believe, who hasn't started his lap yet. He still will have a chance to start his lap as long as he gets out before, I believe that is Jaco coming around to start his lap. It looks like Igna's going to be okay. We're seeing all sorts of contact on the middle of the part of the track at the moment as they're trying to just get into formation. Yes, all drivers are out on track now. But this is now the start of qualifying. Matteo Vasile will lead us around. But Gabriel, take us through a lap here.
Yep, as we now join, I believe, I'm not sure who we're on board with, but we're starting the lap here. We're going for a very long back straight now onto the fast right-hander, clipping that inside apex. You want to get this corner right. We're coming back up to the bank corner. This bank corner is going to offer a lot of different opportunities during the race, a lot of different ways to take this corner. Going almost onto the grass on the exit. You now tighten up the kart through here, swing it into this right-hander. You've now got quite a flowy bit of the track, keeping the kart as stable as possible. Be leaning in and out of the kart to try and get that balance just right. Long left, swinging the kart back to right, onto another long straight. You want to be ducking down in here as much as you can now, if that's possible. Bring the kart to the right through the chicane, back to the left, and across the line to finish the lap.
Yes, here we go. Matteo Vasile will go across the line with a 103.6, but we're waiting now for Jaco. Can Jaco go to top? Jaco does go top with a 103 flat. Magic Rex only in third place. Barry T up to third now, as we're now waiting for, who is this? This is Minisham going across the line. Only sixth at the moment. Minisham stays sixth, I believe. Daniel Marine dropping to fifth place there. We're waiting for some more drivers now. It's a big group of drivers to come across the line. Looks like Leon Blundell's had an issue on his qualifying lap and has moved out the way. There's Minisham. Minisham goes at 6th at the moment with a 1 minute 11. Nye goes up to... Nye moves up to 5th. We see Tim. Tim goes to 3rd. The Dutch driver, Tim. But at the moment it's Matteo and Jaco making up the front row. We're waiting for 2 more drivers now. It's Oren and Igna. So who will come across the line here? Can they do a dent to the top? It doesn't look like it at the moment. As they're coming across the line. He comes, and it's only 11th there for Oren. Very frustrating stuff, I would say. But that was a very interesting qualifying session because so many drivers were just making mistakes, is the best way to put it. And Pierre Ligio just joining late, and he will have to start from the back of the grid. There's only 30 seconds to the start of this race, but this is going to decide the spots for the A final. And Pierre Ligio, unfortunately, starting there in last. He couldn't make qualifying, so he will have to start from the back. Now, Jayco is probably the favourite to win not only the whole event, but probably this sprint race at the moment, as he's now on the front row. And he's going to have the inside start, but it's 6 red lights in ACK, and we're go. Matteo Vasile on the outside. Some drivers joining late, but they'll still get time to race, as Matteo goes really wide there on the start. He's actually let Barry T into second. A great start there from Barry T, as Jayco has a massive lead, but it's actually been reduced here. Now, will they keep it clean through this first section? Bit of loading there from Barry, but it was friendly loading. As they all go through the first section, bit of a strange move there, as Minisham's off the track and spun out. But moving back to the front, Barry T fighting down the back straight here with Jayco. Jayco goes defensive on a big straight like this. Very reminiscent of Wilton Mill. Coming around the next section, of course, a little chicane. You can see Jayco leading the car. He's still defending. Barry T wants the lead here. He's never won a sprint race, nor a race, nor final in ACK. As now down the inside, here comes Matteo Vasile, yet to take his penalty. So it wouldn't matter if he goes ahead. But no, Jayco coming through. Jayco still leading, but Barry T has the bit between his teeth.
Yep, as we've seen now, Chris, on the opening lap, the leader has not been able to get away and pull a gap on this opening lap. I'm saying that, it's happening now, but especially through these first few corners, they've always had pressure behind them, so this is what we'd expect to see on these wide circuits. There's more contact being made, another driver's been half spun around there.
There's a spinner there, he's been on his own, yeah.
Yeah, leader is still under pressure, heading into the second lap.
And we can see Jayco using the leaning in method on the car, interestingly. Not leaning out, he's leaning in. And he's still leaning in there, actually. I'm not sure. You can assign buttons to lean. Yes, he is leaning into the corners, interestingly. Very interesting tactic from him. But Barry T now under threat from Matteo Vasile. It wouldn't matter if Matteo goes ahead because he has a penalty at the moment for his pit lane infringement. But he's going to now go ahead. Barry T can relax behind him, but the lap times now is where it's going to be important. And we're already 2 minutes through a 5-minute race. Pierre Ligio, by the way, is up to 6th place after that race start, after starting, he didn't even do a qualifying lap today. So at the moment, Pierre Ligio, there's a hit there from Migna, but he comes off worse. Pierre Ligio does go a bit wide, but he will get away. And as long as Pierre Ligio just keeps it clean and keeps it on the road, he will start in that A final. 2.5 minutes to go here. Big move down the inside from Nyber. It looks good. Goes wide, Barry T. Barry T now dropping all the way back. Magic Rex at the 4th. He was dropping as low as 7th earlier. So it's been some great racing so far. Are we going to see any defending through this next section of corners? There's been a lot of loading in this section. Ooh, a bit of side contact there from Barry T. But he doesn't come off just as bad. He's going to get a good run down this back straight though on Magic Rex. Will they fight or will they push each other along? It does look like it's going to be the fighting option. Yes, it is. Magic Rex is a little bit loading there, but he does go to the outs. Barry T, though, doesn't manage to get through Magic Rex. Magic Rex holds position. So fantastic racing so far as Jayco opens up a 1.3 second lead.
Yeah, we're finally seeing the leader pull away. So racing has calmed down a bit now for just the past few seconds, but this is being quite the opposite of the last race so far. We're having a lot of track action all the way up and down the field. So we're watching 3 drivers now fighting for a net 9th place in the race. Oren, I believe that is, and currently sitting in 9th position. Is he going to hang it round the outside? Having a problem with the stream here. There we go, with tune back in. Has he made it? They're still going at it a few corners later. This is exactly the type of race we want to see as drivers off the track benefit from that, but a lot of action going on in this race so far, Chris.
Yes, absolutely. Well, we're back to the front of the grid now, as we're seeing all sorts of action up and down the grid. I'm just trying. Everything coming up in red on my screen, but at the moment, the Dutch driver of Tim has come off quite badly at the moment, and it's going to be possibly looking.
having some issues with the server. We will.
Welcome back, everyone, and this is the B final. We had some issues towards the end of that sprint race. Firstly, I just want to say thank you, of course, to Dante for providing this stream. It's not actually controlled by me in any way. I'm just providing the commentary. But of course, thank you, Dante. But we had some issues, unfortunately, at the end of that sprint race. But you didn't miss much. I think it's the best way to put it. But we're here now for the B final now. The top two drivers of this race will make the A final. So this is where all the marbles are played for. But Gabe, give us a sum of what you've seen so far.
Well, first sprint race, we saw the leaders. First and second sprint race, actually, we saw the leaders struggling to get away on the first few laps. So that's something we're going to be able to keep an eye out for this next race. Towards the end of the race, we see drivers starting to catch each other back up, splitting up into groups and having these mini battles. It's going to be interesting to see how the pit stops will play into this, but so far we've seen some, once again, very exciting wheel-to-wheel racing, everyone being respectful, giving each other racing room.
Absolutely, and we see Pierre Ligeot there in first place, the creator of the mod, I must add, by the way. Started from the back of his sprint race, and he was one position, in fact, he was one lap time from making the A final today, which is very unlucky. But first place, he's a very quick driver. The odds of him now taking the lead of this race are quite high. What I would say is quite interesting is the car starts on such a tight hairpin at the start of this race. I'm noticing a lot of drivers in the midfield having amazing momentum as they fly around that first corner and down the main straight. Pierre Ligeot is going to be someone to suffer from that as well. He's going to have to place his car in the right place. But as you turn the car, naturally you are going to go slower. So those drivers at the back are getting a much better advantage, I would say. So 40 seconds to go before the start of the B final here, and it's definitely going to be some interesting racing on track, I would say, but only two drivers can make it through and the rest will just be scoring for their respective championships and categories. What to expect, I'm not sure, but don't forget that just two drivers have to make two joker laps, and that's driving through the pit lane twice here. No stops needed, they just drive straight through as fast as they can make it, and it's quite a similar sort of distance as well. As long as you have a fast joker lap, then you will actually come out sort of where you were placed before. But this is what I mean about a close hairpin to start the race. But it's 6 red lights in ACK as ever, and we are ready to go for our first final of the day. Here's the B final, and Pierre Ligeot is going to get a good start, but he's going to suffer as they go around. Are they going to make side contact? No, they're not. Martin Sheplo, they're getting a clean start with Pierre Ligeot. Now it becomes a drag race down the back straight, and Martin Sheplo going to take the lead of this race, in fact. Down the back straight, and we see Igna now. Is he going to go on the inside? Yes, he does. Pierre Ligeot now bound to the outside, but he holds on to it as we see all sorts of leading. Now Ricardo actually there goes for contact, and he falls out because of it. Andreas Lazaridis, an 11-year-old driver, now trying to make his way through. We see big contact there, big contact down the inside. They're 3 wide down the back straight, but mostly cleanest, friendly contact, I would say. And drivers are giving room. Haven't seen it there. Ricardo, though, in all sorts of pain here, I would say.
Yep, quite chaotic start to the race so far, compared to even our sprint races, which you'd maybe expect to be more chaotic. But once again, as we sort of talked about, the leader not having an easy time on the first lap, Pierre Ligeot has dropped all the way back down to 5th place now after starting on pole position, and the race is now led by Mate Sheplo. So there's a lot of stuff going on already, especially right at the front. It's going to be really interesting to see how these drivers are going to adapt to their pit stop strategies as we see a fight now for 2nd place, and that almost ended badly for Tim.
The Dutch driver of Tim there almost getting spun out, but he looks like he's got a bit of a gap because of it. Igna does actually lose a position to Ricardo. Pierre Ligeot now starting to make his campaign back and through. And you know what? This is an A final worthy set of drivers here in the B final. I think, in fact, all of these drivers have been in their A final last time they've raced. I say all because Igna hasn't raced with us in quite a while, but he was there before. At the moment, all sorts of loading, but 18 minutes to go in this race. It's a long time to go in this race at the moment. As we're looking down the order, with Brandon and Daniel Marine fighting in that midfield. I'm just trying to spot it. There it is. All sorts of fighting. Brandon, the American driver, we're going to call him at least because he's got an American flag. I'm not sure if that's true at least. New driver to the championship, of course. Andreas Lazaridis in the middle of it all.
Yep, I was just going to point out there, sort of unrelated to this battle going on, Pierre Ligier has managed to claw his way back up to third, but let's shoot in with this. This is where the action is going on. In the fight for 7th place is on, almost 4 wide going into the final corner. Who's going to come out on top here? They're going for it, heading into the first chicane. Is this going to end badly for someone? They're somehow keeping it clean so far. Someone's off. I think
that's Brandon there, yes. Oh,
yeah, Brandon, the American driver, off the track. They're still going for it now, heading down this back straight. Is Dennis ahead going to get involved here? Will he get caught out with the slipstream? Some amazing racing going on. They're heading down towards the corner, very reminiscent of Wilton Mill. Is there going to be an overtake done? Yes, there is. Dennis loses 8th place to Sim.
Oh, and they're still fighting. Nobody's taking the Joker, I must say, at the moment. Surely you want to take a Joker. Oh, there's a wipeout. Who's that?
Yeah.
That's Simon Gabert. Simon Gabert, the French driver. Oh, falling behind. As we now join back to Pierre Ligier, by the way, has made his way up to 3rd place again. So he's going to be chasing down that spot to make it into the B final. But he's a while away. There's a driver there into the pit lane, I believe. I think it's Tim. Yes, he is going through the pit lane. He doesn't want to hit these little barricades, shall I say. And there's a spin in the pit lane. No! Tim took a bit too much speed there, but he's going to get out. And it's not too bad of a pit stop, but he is going to fall behind Ignat and Pierre Ligier, but that has played into Pierre Ligier's hands.
It has indeed, Chris, it has indeed. The man who was on pole dropped down to 5th place at the end of lap 1, is now clawing his way back up. He's on the back of 2nd place now. He's possibly going to be on the back of 1st in not too long. As he got, he's gone for it. A little bit of contact there. Pierre Ligier, oh no, actually, Pierre Ligier is in 2nd place. Sorry, I apologise for that, Chris. Pierre Ligier is now sitting in 2nd place. Tim, who had the poor pit stop, now all over the back of this driver. Is he going to be able to make an impact here? Maybe down into the chicane or into turn 1. Let's see how this is going to play out. Can't go for it into the chicane. Is he going to get a chance to turn 1? He's going to get a chance for turn 1. Yep, Ignan losing it. He gets that overtake was done a lot more easily than he would have planned, I hope.
Well, it looks like Tim has recovered then to a place where he sort of was before. It's Dennis Okonomidis coming back through the order, had an unfortunate sprint race, and I know he's frustrated. As we see now, Oren taking his first stop. Now, will this be a better example of one? Coming into the corner, yes, much cleaner. And he goes around the corner, very clean, much better. That's exactly how you should be doing your pit stops. Tell you one driver, though, who's out in front. Mate Sheplo, 4.5 seconds into the lead, and he is what they would call cruising to a victory at the moment, as long as he can keep it on track and keep it from spinning in that pit lane.
Well, he's still got almost just under 15 minutes to go. These two behind are not helping themselves. They could be working together here to try and catch that leader. They're doing anything but that at the moment. They're causing themselves to lose even more time and fall into the clutches of the drivers behind. Pierre Ligier is going to be desperate to just try and get away from this. He'll be thinking to himself, come on, let's just work together, let's escape, let's go for this race lead. But Tim is having none of it. It was a little bit of contact there. Tim, he makes a dive to the pit lane.
Yes, I'm not really sure what was going on there, but it would have to be investigated. But I believe Tim did it as a legitimate stop. Will this be better, though? That's the question. As he comes around, it is better. Yes, it's much cleaner. And he's out into 3rd place. Now, as long as it was a clean stop, he could go all the way to the end now. I say stop. Joker is the way to put it. But Gabe, you know, if I was drivers like Pierre Ligier, what would I be thinking in the car? What should I be doing?
Well, just have to allude back to my previous point. I'd be thinking, come on, guys, let's not keep wasting time here. We've got 5 seconds to the car ahead. We've got just under 14 minutes of racing to go. Let's work together. But Tim is obviously not able to hear what Pierre Ligier is probably saying to himself in his helmet. He's really going to be frustrated here. They should be working together here. They've still got 2 pit stops to make. But clearly Tim just wants to get a move on, and he does not want to be sat behind Pierre Ligier. But Pierre Ligier right now should just be thinking maybe to make a pit stop or just continue on, try and build a gap. And I think he is going to dive into the pits. There you go, yeah. Pierre Ligier in the pits.
Pierre Ligier, I might say, by the way, is let's just follow him first of all. Let's see if this is a good stop. It does look okay for now as he goes through the pillars. Will it be a clean left-hand sweep? It does look good, yes. But Pierre Ligier, by the way, a VR driver. He's driving right now in VR. He usually streams these events, so I hope he's streaming right now. And I really recommend going to check out his stream, driving in VR. It's not something I would look to do be honest with you. I think it's definitely an acquired taste to do this sort of karting. I know, you get the same sort of view you would in real life in these things, but definitely a very disorientating way to do it. Fastest lap, by the way, Tim with a 1:04.0 by the looks at the moment. Don't think that's going to be enough to take the fastest lap point of this event. But looking now as we're just entering the halfway point in this race with a lot of joker laps, and again, it's a big theme in the B final. A lot of drivers taking a lot of joker laps very early. But Dennis Oikomonis has made a lot of positions up at the moment, so you'd hope that he can continue to move forward. Andres Lazaridis sitting very well in that midfield as here comes Pierre Ligio for his second joker. Now, this is his second joker, so he will drive to the end. So let's see where he comes out. Is it going to be a good stop? He pulls to the left, and it looks good, and he gets a clean exit. So he comes out, I believe they're, yes, in 4th place with Igna just behind him. So they couldn't get away from each other through the joker laps, as Igna now, and these two will be battling to the end. And I think what I said before about drivers doing jokers too early, this is another example of it, because big dive there from Mules. But, they're stuck together now for the rest of the race.
Yep, and one thing I've noticed from these pit stops, Chris, is I would have expected the pit lane to actually have been quicker than the normal normal track layout, obviously. But as we've been seeing through these pit stops, you actually will lose time taking these pit stops. So that's something these drivers are going to have to think about. Obviously, Pierre Ligio's now done both of them. He's not going to need to think about that anymore. He just want to press on after Tim, who was fighting before these pit stops, and make this work, try and get back up to that race lead. But just something for these drivers to keep in mind. Last weekend, I believe, or last round, sorry, pit stops were actually quicker, whereas here they are slower. So just something for the drivers to keep in mind.
Don't forget, by the way, we're racing again next week, that time in China, in a city called Wuhan Karting, I believe. I've never personally heard of the track nor seen it yet. I'm really looking forward to seeing a new track and how these drivers who, nobody will have seen this track, at least I don't think in this championship. Well, they might have already, but I think it's going to make for some really interesting practice heats, I think, in the run-up to this event. And that's all this time next week, so don't forget to join us again next week for that event. But Igna sitting on the back of Pierre Ligier now, and he's going to start getting used to the back of that driver's helmet, as now he loads Pierre Ligier through the corner. A bit unfortunate there, but he lets him have it again. But Igna, he overshoots this corner quite typically, and he's going to do it. No, he keeps it clean this time. Fastest lap, by the way, just went to Tim, who has a 1:03.343, so he's improved. Oh, there's a big move there for Igna. He goes into 4th position, and Pierre Ligier has dropped back. So that was an interesting move, I would say, as we just fall below 10 minutes to go.
Yeah, Pierre Ligier, he's not going to be happy to say,
that was a bad move.
Yeah. Stewards might be having another look at Pierre Ligier for that. Stewards might be having a look at Pierre Ligier. So he's not going to be a happy bunny, Mr. Pierre Ligier. I was going to speak about him earlier in the stream, Chris, but it seems like Pierre Ligier is a driver that recently has not come into the luck we feel he deserves. He's the man who's created the mod for this, the backbone essentially of ACK. He's constantly updating, finding new ways of improving it, and he's not just seemed to found the luck this season just yet to where he can be fighting consistently these A finals. He's a very, very talented driver, but he just can't seem to get any luck this season.
Well, Pierre Ligier actually hasn't done any practice laps on this track, I believe. But I'll tell you what has been interesting. 4,000 laps have been completed just in the last week alone of this track in the run-up to this event. You look at this racing on screen now and you think, oh, they're just driving around. No, 4,000 laps worth of racing have gone into it. And these drivers, even in this B final, have really spent their time just getting used to the track, getting used to the car, and the ever-updating car, that is. So there's a lot more work going into this than you think. And one driver who is working their magic now is Mate Sheplo. He's actually losing the lead there to Tim a little bit. Tim is closing in by roughly a second a lap at the moment. Look at the last couple of laps. So is that a worry for Mate? I'm not sure. I don't think he's done any jokers either, but he's only got 8 minutes. Tim would be right on the back of him in about 4 laps time, and there's 8 minutes to go in the race. So I would be worried, and there's Tim just in the background there. I would be worried, but don't forget, it's the top 2 that make the A final. So as long as it stays this way, then it should be fine.
Yeah, I mean, Tim, when he was behind Pierre Ligier, however, he was not willing to hang about. He wanted to get that overtake done. So even whilst it's those top two that make it into that A final, I'm not sure Tim will be happy to settle for second. As we're going to quickly tune back in now with, as we now see Igna has just completed his pit stop, coming out in 5th place. We were going to tune back in with a battle for 6th and 7th place, which we are now. There we go. We see Oren pressuring 6th place Daniel, the Spanish driver, as he tries to go for an overtake up the inside. Doesn't make it work. Is he going to be able to get the slipstream now on this back straight? Will he be able to send it around the outside, up the inside, into the back corner? I think he's going to be too far back for that, but we'll keep an eye on this battle as the race progresses.
Absolutely, 7 minutes to go, and these two drivers not really in winning position. It kind of makes sense now if they've done their jokers to start battling. They're not really challenged from behind as much. And just as big contact there. Oh, I missed that on screen. Whose fault was that?
Crash there. I think that was just a racing incident. Very unfortunate for the drivers to come together the way they just did there. That is possibly the biggest crash we've seen this season, to be honest. That was huge contact out of something so minimal. But both drivers are going to be heavily disappointed there. They were in a solid position, good point scoring position, and they have just dropped that. Maybe they'll be able to make it up throughout as the race continues. But tuning back in now for 10th place, we've got a fight with 3 karts now, with Jules leading this duel.
Well, yes, it looks like he's joined the fight now, Jules, as these two are fighting still. But it looks like Daniel just turned in a little bit early, and the driver didn't expect it, and they both just went flying off, which is quite unfortunate now I look back on it. I'm looking at it, I don't really know who to blame there, but I'll tell you who has benefited, that's Andres Lazaridis, an 11-year-old driver who's moved up to 6th. It's looking like a good result for him at the moment. At such a young age to be practicing this car week in, week out through the ACK. Any position is a good position for Andreas, I would say. By the way, now looking towards the front of the grid, Tim 2.4 seconds off Mate Sheplo. But there's a big gap there as we see Igna now doing his last Joker stop. So he actually didn't do any of his Joker stops before this. Will it be good enough to keep up with Pierre as he comes around and say good stop, and Pierre's just ahead and maybe he's within toe distance now. But Tim, yes, 2.3 seconds. But Mate Sheplo, a big gap there to 3rd place. So Mate Sheplo could afford to drop the B final win at least and make it to the A final, because that's where all the marbles are really calculated. I would say in that A final the big points are scored, and we saw Ricardo around 1 Daytona win the B final and get as high as 6th place in the A final. There was 15 people taking part in that race, so there's so much still to play for, I would say, for Mate Shepard. The only thing he needs to worry about is can his arm and body keep on to it, because driving these cars, driving in the simulator, sitting in the chair, it could fatigue him.
Yeah, so that's actually something that is going to be surprising for some of our viewers, that obviously whilst this is a virtual championship, you've still got drivers at home using sim rigs for this, and over the course of around 20 minutes, especially those that are going to be progressing to the A final, which will be another 20 minutes on top of that, it does get quite exhausting. So it can sort of even maybe prepare drivers for the physical strain of driving a car in real life. But that's a topic for a different day now, as we tune in with the 2 race leaders, with Mate Sheplo now very much under pressure from Tim.
You would say pressure, but there's a big gap there to 3rd. Surely Mate could be listening to this live stream and you think, you know what, this driver's quicker. He's caught me at just under a second a lap. It's worth taking him, just let him go. And is he going to do that? It doesn't look like it at the moment, but they're staying on the racing line. Smart stuff from Mate. But is he going to let him have it? He does go wide. Yes, Tim does go down the inside to take the lead of this final. And Mate Sheplo does take the opportunity to take his first Joker. Will it be a good stop? This is very important now for Mate Sheplo, because it's one thing to lose the lead, but now it's one thing to possibly make a mistake in the pits. Does he come round? And it looks good for Mate Sheplo. Yes, it is, and he'll come out just behind Tim. So it looks like still the pit stop is the slower method, only by about a second by the looks. But now he's probably got one more Joker to go. And I just see Ricardo there, just in the distance. This could be quite a close ending. 3 minutes to go. Mate's going to have to nail this last stop if I believe he's going to take it on this lap. He needs to nail it. Otherwise, Ricardo will be on the back of him going into the last couple of laps of this race. So that's going to be very interesting to follow, as now Sheplo's coming around. His sectors are looking okay. but Ricardo is quicker, actually, looking at it at the moment. So will Mate Shepard decide to do the Joker on this lap? I believe he has to take one more. No, actually, I have been informed. I can see it now. Mate has done both of his stops. So this now is Ricardo chasing down Mate Shepard for the spot in the A final, I do believe, as they're coming through. Who will be the faster driver? Mate Shepard last lap a 5.5, Ricardo a 4.0, so 1.5 seconds faster. Will it be the same this lap? Yes, it is. So Ricardo, 4.2 seconds with 2 minutes on the clock. That's 2.5 laps of racing. Can he do it? I'm not sure.
It's going to be very, very close. It's going to be really down to the wire here. As we're just to cut away from the leaders for a second, we're seeing some more amazing fighting going on here for 11th place. Even whilst there's no fighting at the front sometimes, with this track we're seeing some amazing fighting going on down the field between Jules and Oren there, so very good and respectful fighting. But tuning back in with the leaders, as we were talking about, Ricardo's actually dropped off a little bit from Matteo. I'm not sure if he is going to be able to do this with, well, now almost 1.5 minutes to go, but let's keep an eye on that gap.
Yes, I think it's going to have to be a mistake from Sheplo. So as long as Sheplo gets that message through this stream or somebody else, he should be making his way to the A final. And I notice he is just sitting on the back of Tim at the moment. Tim with a 1:03, 1:73 on a couple of laps ago to take the fastest lap. I don't think that's going to be the fastest lap overall. The A final usually produces the faster of the laps. But 1:03.1, that's a very good lap time. I would say he'll be making his way up the A final, so keep your eye out for Tim. I think he'll be pushing his way towards a top, maybe even top 6 in that finals. 1 minute to go on the clock here. Oren starting to get very racy because very wide on that last one as Yules. Welcome to ACK, by the way, Yules. Hopefully you've had a great time. We'll see you again soon. But he's not going to be making the A final as it stands with less than a minute to go. Just looking around, Tim is coming round the last corner. So he will start, here is the leader in fact, and Marty Shepard just following him behind. They will start their last lap of the race. Marty Shepard staying just 1.4 seconds off Tim. So it's looking good for Shepard as he wins. I've got it written down here. This is his 4th B final promotion. Shepard in looks to be 15 races, I believe he's done with us. He's becoming the B final promotion merchant, I think is the best way to put it, as he always seems to have the worst of luck on the Super Pole and the sprint race, but then he always climbs it back to the A final, and he always moves up, I would say, into that top 10, so we got to keep our eyes on him as well in that final. But here comes Tim, the Dutch driver. He's done very well to recover today. I believe he had a lot of issues joining the server and getting today started, but he's now in a position to score the big points in the A final. It does go to show us a very forgiving format from the Super Pole to the sprint race to the B final promotion, then to the A final. You can make it through, and you can start from virtually last. We've seen it before with Ben Paynes, starting from last in the sprint to A final podium. But here comes Tim round the last set of corners. He will make the A final. Yes, he does. And who will make the A final with him? It is the fantastic Mate Shepard, the Hungarian driver. Ricardo just missing out. Of course, our thoughts go to him. Pierre Ligeot finishing 4th with Igna finishing in 5th. And the next battle is Andres Lazaridis, the 11-year-old driver. Here he comes. I know his dad's watching the stream, and hopefully he's happy with his result today. Coming round the final set of corners for an 11-year-old driver. Fantastic to see with fellow Greekman Dennis Oikonomidis recovering. Great result from, or great drive at least from Dennis today. But good result there from Andreas. Dennis coming across the line. We got Not, the Brazilian driver, on his debut, coming home in 7th. Daniel Marine, welcome to the series, in 8th. Brendan in 9th. Yules in 10th. Simon Gabert 11th. Oren in 12th. And a few drivers just in behind. But what an interesting B final, I would say. But we'll be back in just a few minutes with the big one. The one where you score all the points. It's the A final. So see you there. Welcome back. It's the A final, the big final that we're looking for today. And we've got Jaco on pole, followed by the control player of Baptista van der Beek, the famous Baptista van der Beek, I should say. But Gabriel, run us through what you've seen today so far. Drivers stay clean and they stay respectful, but it just comes with championship points and championship points on offer today, but also our wins. We're going to see our first different winner today of the season. Soren, the Danish driver, has not only won both of his sprint races, he's also taken the fastest lap and the A final win at both of round 1 and round 2 of the season so far. Round 2 was his home track of Racel Aarhus in Denmark, but it's no difference. You know, these drivers are practicing thousands of laps a week. You would expect them to all be on equal footing. But, you know, yes, as I said, we have seen 4,000 laps plus of this track over the last few days. So it's definitely going to be an interesting A final, I will say. But yes, thank you so much anyway for watching. I will say before this race, thank you of course to Dance for providing the stream, of course now on the new home of my own personal YouTube channel. So if this is the first time you've seen it on this channel, hello. If you're a regular viewer of mine, hello, welcome to this commentary I lend out for the eSIM series, or what is it, Sim Karting Series ACK. Welcome along, and of course thank you ever so much to my assistant here, Gabriel Quinter, who has provided some fantastic commentary so far and definitely some clippable stuff. But there's only 20 seconds to go now before the start of this A final, and it's going to be a new race for a new winner hopefully here today. Looking down the grid, I don't think we've ever seen one of these drivers win a race before. No, we haven't. Baptista came close though at round 9 last season, but we're going to get a brand new winner in the ACK today. So it's going to be 6 red lights in Assetto Corsa, and when they go out, we're going to see 15 drivers pile into that first right-hander. Here we go. Will what we expect happen to the drivers that have no momentum as they come around the corner? So Jaco gets the clean start. Baptista pushes him along, obviously clearly worried. He is listening to the live stream as well, worried the drivers behind, but it looks like a good start. Will they keep it clean through the next section? This is the important one. Will we see all sorts of a bit of cycles on the inside there by Darkpan, but it's all looking good. Baptista, the famous Baptista van der Beek, he likes being called, holds on to second place, but Jacob, what a fantastic lead there. Down in the back straight, it's never-ending battling, but great respect so far. Baptiste goes defensive. The Wilton Mill Christmas-style corner, the next one for everyone to attack, and are they going to go wide? No, everyone stays on the track. Fantastic to see. What some fantastic driving we're seeing here. Ultimate respect, and oh, there it is. That's the Polish driver of GT. Getting the spin round, but gets recovered. Who was that going around the outside? Fantastic. Wow, what a start.
Yeah, a little bit more tamed for those first few corners than we've seen in the B final or the sprint. The leader did actually manage to maintain the lead, but yeah, it all kicked off once we came through the very similar to Christmas corner at Wilton Mill. Everything just kicked off then. But so far, so good. Drivers all seem to be in single files, starting and running onto this second lap now. And your race leader,
Jaco.
Thank you, Jaco is still maintaining the lead there. So Jaco maintains the lead, as we've got already someone in the pits, David Rogers in the pits.
David Roger, of course, coming through to do his first Joker, getting it done early, and it looks like a good stop. He's going to join back at the action here, and now it's a case of just driving as fast as he can to the, well, he's got to do one more joker, but then just getting to the end of the race in the cleanest way possible. Leon Blindell, by the way, gone massively under the radar today, but he's sitting up in 8th. Now, at the last round, Harry Power actually wiped him out. Now, they were good friends, and he tells me after the race they still are good friends despite the wipeout. So Harry Power keeping his friends on his side there, I will say, but a disappointing result from Leon just because of that unfortunate accident. But he's now sitting in a clean 8th place, and he's going to score some points fighting along there with Matteo Vasile, who took a penalty. I did talk to him in the break, and he said that it was just his mistake for leaving the pit lane too early. So yes, Matteo, just don't forget to read the briefing. The best way to put it in the future. No jokers, by the way, in this last lap. Yes, we do see 2 jokers. It's David Roger going in again, and that looks like in front. To me, Magic Rex. Yes, Magic Rex in as well. Fantastic day from Magic Rex so far. If David Roger can keep this clean, which he does, he will be driving out to the end of the race. So this is important for David Roger. He needs to drive as fast as he can in a straight line to keep it going. David Roger now getting sort of defended by Magic Rex, not too badly. Magic Rex is going to hold on to it. Yes, if these 2 drivers start defending now, we're going to be in for a very long race.
David Rogers not going to be particularly happy about that. He's done his 2 stops. Magic Rex has only done 1. He's going to be thinking, why are you bothering to defend? Let me through. Let's just race. But obviously, Magic Rex is entitled to defend if he wants to. There's no rule against it. But David Roger will be frustrated. We've tuned back in now with the leaders, though, as Baptiste is now heavily under pressure from Duckpan. Duckpan is going to want to make his way through as quick as he can again. This is the man behind.
This is Jacob. This is the leader. This is Jacob doing his first stop. Jacob goes back out into the lead, though. They're fantastic. See, he does take the fastest lap, by the way, of the whole event. 1:03.075 from Jacob. And he has come out in front of Baptiste. That tells you that if Jacob was to pit again, you come out in a clear lead, and then the job is just the drive to the end. But Duckpan is having none of Baptiste sitting in front, and he's going for the overtake. Baptiste holds on, and surely he's going to be screaming in his helmet, at least his virtual helmet, we need to work together here, because Jacob's getting away, and, you know, was it 20 minutes to go in this race, and there's the move from Duckpan, the Dutch driver. Dutch driver here getting in front, and Willie still in front. Oh, bit of loading it from Baptiste. Baptiste does keep it as now that looks like, who is that? That is Johan now going down the inside. So Baptiste drops back to 4th. He needs to change his strategy, I think, here to keep on the level head.
Yeah, so this is exactly what Duckpan needs, and also going to be alluding to. He's the man behind Soren and Yardley in the championship. This is the perfect opportunity for him to score as many points as possible and close that gap. We see 2 drivers diving into the pits. Tim is one of them. So we're watching now a fight for 2nd place, or for 6th place, sorry, between Leon Blindell and Kamplovsky. So yeah, yes. Fight for 6th place over there. We're now watching the fight for 2nd place now as we've tuned back in with Duckpan. Is he now going to have to start defending? He's going to be furious inside his helmet, just saying, work together, we need to catch the leader.
Johan to 2nd!
Not what's happening. Johan to 2nd, as you've pointed out there, Chris. This is not playing into Duckpan's hands at all.
And for the 2nd time in 2 rounds, we've seen a new driver enter the championship. Johan, you know, he's not short of practice, by the way. He's done, you know, hundreds of laps already. But a new driver, in a sense, to ACK, and he's making an instant impact. And as long as he does all the rounds this season, he will score a full scoring championship. And here comes now Duckpan coming into the pit lane, the Dutch driver. Well, will it be a clean stop from him? As by the way, I just see Jaco in front. Jaco coming round to finish. Will he get a clean Joker lap? It does look like it, as now here comes Duckpan as he comes back onto the track, and Jaco has now done 2 stops, and Duckpan that was his first. So Jaco, the job now is to drive to the end, as Baptiste van der Breggen now getting side by side with Duckpan, so it hasn't worked out there, as Baptiste now goes back in front of the Dutch driver, and is staying there. He's almost semi-defending as well.
Yep. Duckpan is going to be even more frustrated now. He's done his pit stop. He's not come out in clear air. He's stuck in 4th place.
Ooh.
He's tried to make a move and it hasn't worked. This is not playing into his hands at all. Duckpan is going to be furious, to say the least, as he's now got Matteo behind him. But out in front, though, Jaco is just continuing now to open up that gap. He's got a 1.4 second lead. It's not as comfortable as previously, and we've got 2 drivers diving into the pit lane now. 2 drivers diving into the pit lane. Who have we got?
Here's Baptiste van der Breggen. And I must say, by the way,
Johan and
the
Baptiste.
all the top 10 are within 10 seconds of each other in this race. It's been 7 minutes of racing, and the entire field is still bunched up, and these joker laps are not splitting them apart. As Duckpan now stuck behind Matteo Vasile as well, it gets even worse for him. Now, Matteo Vasile hasn't taken any joker laps yet, so he will be in a very frustrating position, I will say. As drivers, the front runners seem to all just be fighting with each other at the moment. So Matteo's definitely entered a very interesting part of the race. As here's now Baptista van der Breggen in third position, sort of half defend in the corner. He does go wide though, and the same sort of dive from another driver, and Duckman does take advantage of that. And they're using the grass as a bit of this is not Buckmore Park, guys. You know, you can't use that much grass, but they do survive it anyway.
Yeah, definitely not the most convenient racing line to say the least, Chris. But again, we're tuning back into these lot. Very intense fight going on for third place. And we've got Leon Blindell coming into the pit lane now. Driver currently sat in 9th place, tuning back in with these top 3 now. Baptiste, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, Chris, the controller player sitting in 3rd place. He always seems to be a front runner. Is he going to hold on to 3rd place heading down towards the Christmas corner-like corner that we have here? What's it going to be? Is the driver going to go around the outside? Nope, Baptiste holds him off and lives on to fight for another corner.
I think that's what we're going to call it now. I think we're just going to call it Christmas Corner because it is so reminiscent of Wilton Mill. Definitely interesting. Wilton Mill, by the way, it was the second round of the first season of ACK. It hasn't returned since as Baptiste gets loaded. No, and there he gets spun out there. He's been spun out, Baptista. No, who's that by? That looks to me like Duckpan has spun round Baptista van der Breggen, the controller player, on a corner where, quite frankly, he was getting loaded each lap. So Duckpan definitely going to take a penalty for that. That is definitely frustrating. Oh, poor Baptista. You know, he's an absolutely fantastic driver in real life. He's fantastic in the game as well, but that is some unbelievable luck, I will say, from Baptiste. But he needs to just score as many points as he can now. There will be penalties up ahead. He needs to just keep his head down. He's more than capable in 15 minutes to make his way up that order. So let's see what he can do.
Yep, if that was Duckpan though, then if things have gone bad for Baptiste, then my words, have they gone even worse for Duckpan. The man who started right at the front has now dropped down all the way down to 8th. This was his chance to gain back on the championship leaders, and unfortunately that looks like by each lap that passes by, that chances keep getting lower and lower and lower. But he still might be able to recover this. 15 minutes left to go. We tune back in with 3rd place. Matteo now defending for 4th place. Is he going to hold this going into the first corner? No, he's not.
Barringer.
Yeah, Barringer doesn't make it stick then. So Matteo holds it round the outside. Barringer trying to launch an attack. It's been unsuccessful at the moment. We've got a queue of cars all the way down to around 9th place here, queuing up behind Barringer to see, or behind Matteo, sorry, to see if they can potentially snatch 4th place. They're a bit spread out at the moment, but plenty of time for that field to gather up, as we've got one driver in the pits.
Yes, that looks to me like Baptista van der Breggen. Do you have more issues now, Baptista? That could be unbelievable. As we see Magic Rex now joining in behind, quite scruffy there from Magic Rex, but Baptiste, I think he just clipped the wall, but this is Barringer. I want to say, by the way, Duckpan is 3rd in the championship, and, you know, he is essentially fighting for his places in the championships. This is going to be a massive blow today. We're almost looking at a drop round from him at the moment. Yet to pull a 50-pointer, only 46 points he scored twice, but still up there, 3rd in the championship, which has been great to see. This is a new driver, Lewis and Barringer, who, as long as he joins us for as many rounds as he can this year, he will be up there also on the leaderboard. I just want to talk about, by the way, the popularity of ACK. We've definitely seen it grow. In Season 1, only 6 drivers completed 2 rounds of ACK at the first 2 rounds. And in Season 2, 12 drivers competed in the first 2 rounds. We've seen 21 drivers complete the first 2 rounds of ACK in Season 3, and not only that, with Round 3 today, we have seen 16 drivers return. That is a loyal 16 drivers, I will say, and it's fantastic to see, and hopefully they all join us once again next week to continue fighting for their championships. But, you know, this is a growing championship with so many races still to go and so many exciting tracks. You know, we are actually going to, I mentioned Buckmore Park earlier, we are going to Buckmore Park for the finale. Carl Ahern's new, quite popular Buckmore Park mod will be joining the calendar for this season. So hopefully we can see some more exciting race action from Buckmore Park. But yes, let's tune back into the race then. With that in mind, Lewis and Barringer fighting with Tim. They're not really fighting, I would say. They're definitely just making small mistakes and trying to push each other along. The smart thing to do, I believe they're watching a live stream. They know what's going on. Tim definitely taking a much more shallower line into the corners, but then Barringer just getting the toe out of them.
Yep, that's pretty much summarised, Chris. The track is basically a human DRS track. If you get in the toe, you've got a very, very good chance of overtaking heading into the next braking zone. But just to quickly sum up as well, the top three... Oh, hold on. We've now got to move to 4th place. Tim gets spun out there by Barringer. This has not been the first time Barringer's been involved at the centre of controversy. This could be another penalty heading his way. Tim drops down from a net 4th place down to 9th place after that contact.
Yes, well, Barringer, he knows what he did there. He also didn't slow down, so very frustrating position for him. And that's, do you know, one driver that's benefited from this? Leon Blundell. Leon Blundell sitting in 5th now. Not sure if he's going to finish there. Just checking he's got one joker to go. And GT actually comes in there as well. The Polish driver behind 2nd in the last event. Tim now has to make his way back up. Maybe he's looking for some at least friendly, it's not friendly, but it's revenge, without of course taking out the driver. But he will be trying to fight his way back up to Lewis and Barringer, I'm sure, as we see GT come out just behind. That's Nye Kampolowski, and so they're gonna have to go side by side here, and they give each other room. Fantastic to see, but Nye needs to really get on with it now, to be honest with you, and GT, yes, needs to push him along. Only 11 minutes left in this race, plenty of time for Tim to make those positions back. Duckpan, by the way, has made his way back up to 6th, and that in front looks like Leon Blundell. So Leon Blundell, who in the B final at the last round, will be in a in quite a high position here, I would say, compared to what he's done in the last couple of rounds. But saying that, at the last one he got taken out by Harry Power. It was Daytona where he was in the B final, so we expected great things from Leon. But it looks like at the moment he is being outpaced, so it's smart of him. Yes, it is smart of him to take the Joker. I did say he needed one more Joker lap, so it does look good so far. Leon is a keen listener of the live stream, so he will know that this is going to be a close one, and he is in a very good point scoring position. Will it be a good stop though, or a good Joker, should I say? Yes, it does look good from my side at least, and Duckpan just comes out just in front. Now it'll be smart from Leon, I think, just to continue to just follow Duckpan here and get himself to the top end of this field. Yeah,
Duckpan is slowly but surely getting himself back into this race. We did think it was, or I personally thought it was over for him after that last incident, but nope, he's making his way slowly but surely back into this race. We're now watching a fight here for 8th place between the Polish driver GT and the 9th place driver Kaplowski. Yep, heading down into the final chicane. Is there going to be a move? No, there's not. Looking up further ahead, have we got a chip? No, that was just a glitch as the drivers come across the timing lines. Yep, GT still maintaining 8th place here. Kaplowski, is he gonna get it? Heading into this first chicane of the lap, is he gonna pay off? Side by side, GT just
still side by
side, and a little bit of contact there. Kaplowski slots back into 9th place. We're gonna get another slipstream now though into Christmas Corner. This is the type of racing we like to see in ACK. This is the type of racing we're getting at this track. But nope, looks like GT survives that lap and lives on another day with Kaplowski all over the back of him. And now they've got the Spanish driver Hugo Morales, I believe, just behind them joining in.
Yeah, so we had a few comments really at the last round. Race hall was too thin, too tight. Although quite wide, the barriers were really causing issues, and the drivers, some of the ACK team reminded them that the next round is quite a big open track, and to see the difference in driving. And today has been something different. Just watching those two drivers there, GT and Nye, just go 2 by 2 for basically a quarter of a lap was unbelievable to see. I would say there, Gabe, and it's the type of racing you want to see. It's very respectful stuff, and hopefully you know, these sort of things lead to more great battles in the future, and just they understand how to even take this into real karting. You know, you look at this type of racing, it goes side by. This is Hugo Morales now fighting Nye, but they hopefully they take these sort of skills and this pressure and put it into real karting as well, because that's what it's all about. In the day, you're not just racing here; you're training to do real karting, to real races, whether that's in the Sodi or the Biz karts. So this sort of stuff is really important to see.
Yeah, it definitely is, Chris. There's a lot of transferable skills from this into real life karting, which is quite frankly amazing, what we want to see, and you really can learn a lot as we're watching more side-by-side racing, this time between Hugo Morales and Kablowski now for 9th place in this race. I think Kablowski has now secured 9th place. Hugo Morales is going to drop back in state in 10th. We've now got the driver in 3rd place now, Matteo, into the pit lane. Is he going to maintain 3rd? Yes, he is. It was a pretty clean stop. Back out in 3rd place, 6.9 seconds behind your 2nd place driver, Johan.
The ACK team have let me know that Matteo will have to take a penalty for that contact with Baptista Van der Beek. But I mean, you know, it's pretty obvious stuff that he's going to take the penalty, because it was, well, a fairly obvious spin out, I think is the best way to put it. So the team, the ACK team are telling me that he will take a small penalty, and also the same for Barringer, of course, based off his spin out. But you know, it was very close, I would say, but it was also quite unfortunate, as we see Lewis and Barringer actually there take some very interesting lines. Go back to the front, by the way. Jaco, who a driver who leans into the corners, looking at it each time. Maybe that is better. Maybe he's found a way to drive this car in the fastest way possible, but he is leading by a mile at the moment, 5 seconds to Johan, and Johan's not exactly catching up. Fastest lap 102.801. Jacob could be taking not only the sprint win, but the A final win and the fastest lap once again, and that could put him in good stead to become a championship contender.
It could indeed, Chris, with those top 2 in the championship gone, and it's sort of all been blown open for this round, as we're watching now more side-by-side racing down in 10th place. That is Hugo Morales and Kablowski still fighting over 9th place. These are for the minor points as well. This is not for the race lead, bear in mind. This is for 9th place. I'll repeat that again, 9th place, and they're fighting this hard. That shows you how important each point is in this championship. They are really going for it. They've been doing this for around 2 or 3 laps now, and it's great to watch. Is Hugo Morales finally going to get the run he needs to, as we now cut to the top 5? Fight for 4th place. Driver darts into the pit lane there, as we now tune back in with Hugo Morales. Is he going to make it work around the outside? Is he going to switch back to the inside? No, he's not. Kablowski still remains in 9th place. Has Hugo Morales got the run he needs? He's going side by side into the chicane. Are they going to leave each other the space? Yes, they are. Hugo Morales still side by side with Kablowski for another lap, hanging it around the outside. I think he might just have it now.
Yes, Hugo Morales there, moving up into 9th place. What a battle. This has been one of my favourite races to cover so far. Like I said, new to this channel, but ACK is nothing short of new. You know, this is, I believe, the 23rd sprint race that has happened in ACK's quite well, it's a year-long history. It's been almost a year since it's run now, and this is the 23rd sprint race, and we've also had multiple endurance series run by the ACK team. So you know, these drivers have been round the block in terms of experience. But Lewis and Barringer, by the way, going for the move here on Dakpan. Oh, loaded into Dolan Tim. Oh, now that was from Leon Blindell. Now Leon Blindell, will he give anything back? I don't know. Maybe he should have to take a penalty, but that was a little bit naughty. We can understand 2 karts in front. They break a little bit earlier than what you expect. But Tim, he's finding absolutely no luck today.
Yeah, Leon Blindell is very likely going to be being looked at by the stewards, by the ACK officials as we speak. But now the fight for 4th place is intensifying even more, almost 3 wide heading down into Christmas Corner. Leon has to be careful now. He's already taken some risks. He cuts the track there, almost 4 wide going into the hairpin. Tim makes a bit of side contact. GT has now been in. GT has come out of nowhere. He was just further down the field a few laps ago. He's now up in 5th place. We've got drivers joining up into the back of this now. Tim leading this pack in 4th place. GT just behind him. Leon Blindell in 6th. These drivers are all going for it just for 4th place. These are drivers from 4th to 8th place going for it as almost a spin there. This is absolutely incredible. This is the type of racing we want to be seeing in ACK. As now GT pulls away, Tim is now dropped back into this. Are they going to be going side by side again? Is Tim going to make it work around the outside? We saw Hugo Morales do it earlier. Tim is not going to benefit. Darkpan, the man who was going to benefit from the 2 championship leaders not being here, he's trying to go for it. They're going to almost be going 3 wide into Christmas corner. Have they sort of sorted themselves out? Still going side by side, Chris.
Oh, this is fantastic racing, and they're all so respectful to each other. There's multiple Dutch and Spanish drivers in there, all fighting round. But it's been a fantastic race to watch. These are not minor points. This is for the top 8, and there's some big points there. And with some big names out of today's race, they know there's big points to be scored. But only 2.5 minutes now. I did complain that drivers might have been doing their jokers too early, but this is the type of racing you get with 2 minutes to go when all the jokers are done. There's nothing you can do now. It's just you, your wheel, your TV is the way to put it, but basically your go-kart trying to get through these drivers who are on the same strategy as you. 2 minutes to go, so I would make that around about 2 laps. I think we'll get 2 laps here. Depends how fast Jacob can get round. By the way, not the fastest lap anymore. Johan in 2nd place takes a 1 minute 2.780. So if Jacob's listening to the stream, you need to find a faster lap, because at the moment the 1 extra point, which I know is not a lot, but is taking a perfect triple crown there from Jaco, as he needed, really. If you're going to fight drivers like Soren, who already has a fastest lap sprint race win and a final win 2 rounds in a row, Jaco needed that fastest lap today. So 1 minute 30 seconds to go here from Duckbrand. Gabriel, who would you point out as your driver of the day? I would say let's introduce this as well. Who is your driver of the day?
Driver of the day, so far, to be honest, Chris, it has to be Tim. If my memory is correct, which it isn't all the time, he is the driver that qualified for this A final through the B final, and he's now made his way up into 5th place at the moment. He's had some amazing wheel-to-wheel racing throughout this A final. He's still having some amazing wheel-to-wheel racing.
Ooh,
he's kept himself out of trouble. He's not received any penalties. The racing's been hard but fair, but he is my driver of the day.
Yes, he has driven fantastic. He didn't actually qualify either, so he started at the back of his sprint race, made the way to the front of the middle of the B final, starting 7th, won the B final, and now is only a couple of tenths off the fastest lap, but he's looking at a nice top 5 at the moment, if he can keep Leon Blundell behind. By the way, Jaco, just looking for him on track. Jaco does go across the line, so this is now the last lap of the race. I know that once the time hits 0, it will be whatever lap the drivers are on as they come round, but he's just about coming up to lap Mate Sheflo here. Mate Sheflo, if he lets Jaco through, will secure a 15th place. It looks like Mate's had a very unlucky day, but listen, he won the B final. Maybe fatigue got to him, or he came to an issue in the pit lane. But if I was Jaco right now, I'd be trying to get this fastest lap. I wouldn't be switching off as he comes round. They're still too wide, by the way, going through the first section of the track. It's unbelievable sort of racing going on here. Lewis and Barringer's down in 9th place. He must have fallen into an issue there somewhere as well. Must have quite missed that. But here comes Jaco. We need to find out if he's going to get the fastest lap, but he's going to take the win and a sprint race win here on a day where he needed points. He takes the widest line ever to the line, and he does not take the fastest lap. No, that will go to Johan. So it's not a perfect run, as Johan finished 2nd place on his ACK debut. Fantastic. Matteo, for now, will finish. Matteo Vasil will finish in 3rd, but he will take a penalty, I'm sure, for the Baptista van der Beek incident. So that's going to promote GT, the Polish driver, into 3rd, with Tim possibly making 4th place. Not too sure yet. Tim and GT yet to finish the race. Now, Tim only coming around to finish now, so maybe Matteo will only lose 1 place if that's within the penalty window. Hugo Morales in 6th, Leon Blundell 7th. We had Dakpan, very unlucky from him, only finishing in 8th. Lewis and Barringer, not sure what happened to him, but down in 9th. Nye in 10th, with Baptista 11th. Magic Rex at 12th. Barry T, fantastic day from Barry T in 13th. David Rogero in 14th, with Martin Sheplo, the B final 2nd place. Only not really making the gains today, only making 1 place and 2 extra points overall from doing that extra 25-minute race. But Gabriel, what's your final thoughts?
Well, that was exactly the type of race we want to see in ACK. Action packed all the way through. Pit stop strategies were involved, side by side racing, drama, championship leaders, trying to go for moves, just everything you want to see from ACK. So, from myself, that's going to be it from myself today. I'll hand it back over to you, Chris. Thank you ever so much for everyone for watching, and I will see you all at round 4.
Yes, thank you. Thank you to Gabe, of course, and thank you to Dinica. And then thank you to the ACK team who are running it behind the scenes. You know, fantastic effort from them to get this championship going. And thank you, of course, to Pierre for the kart mod itself, the backbone of the championship. But we saw some very interesting racing today, and the championship points I think are going to be all over the place. Considering we didn't have Yardi Lemons, nor do we have Soren. So hopefully they return for round 4 and we get some intense racing action there as well. But join us next week when we're going to China, to Wuhan, Wuhan karting, a fairly unknown track to a lot of the drivers. And if you want to get involved with the championship, I know this is a new YouTube channel, so you might not have seen this content before. If you enjoy it, please don't forget to like, but get involved. You can join the Discord, join the practice server, do the practice sessions with everybody, and see where you can sit, and then join us next week where we race at round 4 of the championship. But that's all from today. Thank you so much to everybody for watching. Really appreciate it as ever, and we'll see you all next time.